All right, so welcome to another edition of AM Sport on Impact Africa Television and, of course, Impact Business Radio. This is always Sabi with the latest stories going around in the world of sport. Today, like I said in the previous edition, it's a little bit special because I'm having someone special on the program today, and that is a popular, yes, Nigerian-American heavyweight boxer. I'm talking about Raphael Akpejiori. He is my guest on today's edition of the program. We're going to delve into yes, the career of Raphael Akpejiori so far, how it has been, and of course, talk about the challenges, his toughest fights, and all of that. So it promises to be a very interesting interview, by the way. So grab yourself. I've been something chilled, and of course, let's have some fun today. I am Kenny Bamdere. I'll be your anchor for the program today. Now, let's first of all talk a bit about who Raphael Akpejiori is. He's Nigerian American professional boxer with an impressive athletic background, born in Lagos, Nigeria in 1990. Akpejiori moved to the United States as a teenager on a basketball scholarship. Basketball, but he's a boxer. Don't worry, he's going to answer that question today. Eventually playing 4 seasons for the University of Miami basketball team and before transitioning to American football. Again, before boxing, he's got a lot of questions to answer to that. As a graduate student, he holds bachelor's and master's degree in mechanical engineering. Akpejiori had a brief but successful amateur boxing career, compiling 13 victories and one defeat record with 10 knockouts. He turned professional in 2018 and has since amassed an impressive 17-1 record, with 16 of those wins by knockout right there. Promoted by CES Boxing and trained by former world champion Glen Johnson right there. And of course, this just a brief about of Raphael Akpejiori. I'm sure at least you have a clue of who he is right now. It's time to bring him on board. Welcome to Total Sport on Impact Africa Television and of course Impact Business with Raphael Akpejiori. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time also.
Yeah, so why running through your bio mentioned that you started basketball, went to American football, then boxing. What about the transition?
It was a beautiful transition. I have an athletic background. My dad was a professional soccer player back in the day. I believe he
Okay.
played or I might have played for Bendel Insurance when I was before I was born, and New Nigerian Bank Football Club. So my mom was a track athlete also. So I come from a naturally athletic background of parents who were athletes. And in the 90s and the 70s, these were not things that were encouraged the way they're encouraged today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that my parents encouraged me to play sports. Sports just found me, and I just happened to be good, being that I already had those athletic genes inside of me. So when I found basketball, when I played basketball in Nako part of Lagos in the Ogwumike area, I started being good at it, and just with a little bit of work and with time,
Yeah.
I developed into what I became, where I got opportunities to play basketball in the United States.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Now, can you tell us about your upbringing in Lagos?
Well, I wouldn't say I was born in Lagos. I lived in different places. I lived in Lagos. I lived in Edo State. I
Okay.
lived in Port Harcourt. Finally in Lagos. My dad lives in Benin City, so I'm in
Okay.
different places. My upbringing was great. I had a great childhood. I and my sisters and my sisters and my brother, we had a great time. Growing up in Lagos, I was born in Surulere. Moved in different places. Moved to Allen Avenue. Was in Okwebi. Was in Ijuishaga. Was in Yanopaja before I left to come to the United States. So the upbringing was great. I lived a great life, made a lot of friends, went to great schools, and it was a good one. Lagos, Nigeria helped me with my athletic career and my athletic background, being that, everyone in Lagos Abeokuta Road, we find ourselves running every morning, doing road work like with the boxers and all the athletes.
Okay.
And coming back home and driving through that path every in the morning, just watching the upcoming generation do the same thing that we used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
It's just great, being that we've walked these paths before and the success that we've gotten from them. And these new little kids are doing the same thing and
Yeah.
hoping the best also. So that's how growing up in Lagos was for me. Well, I had a great time. I had a great childhood. I'm grateful to be Nigerian. I don't think I would be born anywhere else in this world, and I will have the gratitude for having that background from Lagos, Nigeria.
One of the things I love to hear is when people talk about their roots and most especially Nigerians. And I'm really happy to hear that, you're grateful
Yeah.
to be Nigerian as always. And of course, we are also happy that you're repping us really well when it comes to your boxing career. Now, let's talk about your boxing career right now. You've had an incredible start to your pro career with 16 of your 17 wins coming by knockouts. What is the key to your punching power and knockout ability right there?
Well, I'll say I'm 18 fight. I have 19 fights, 18 wins, and one loss with 17 knockouts. I don't
Okay.
think the key to my punching power. Punching is not something that is born. It's something that you learn how to do, and it's all
Okay.
technique. I'm blessed that I happen to cross paths with one of the greatest boxers in the history of the world, Glen Johnson, the Road Warrior, and
Yeah.
also I happen to actually have a great strength and conditioning coach who actually also trains Deontay Wilder. I mean, I'm sure we know who Deontay Wilder is and the punching power that he has.
Yeah.
So I'm just blessed and highly favored to have come across paths with these people in the same locality. So the key to my punching power is also a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
I do a lot of work. I do primates. I do athletic. You just have to do the work. Do the work. Watch the greats. Watch guys that Mark the Mike Tyson's, the Lennox Lewis's, the Deontay Wilders, and learn from them. Watch a lot of skills from Floyd Mayweather. I watch guys like Alessandro Usyk, which is a modern day heavyweight champion of the world, the undisputed. And go from there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, and hard work is the key here.
Hard work is very important in all you do. Now, you mentioned your trainer, Glen Johnson, earlier, and he is a former world champion. And I'm going to ask this question. How has he helped shape your boxing development as a professional boxer?
Boxing has a lot to do with mindset. It's a mental sport. They say the mental is to the physical as 4:1. Boxing is, you can get into a 12-round fight, but at some point you're gonna have to dig the dirt. You're gonna have to get down,
Yeah.
and that's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about Glenn Johnson. If you know him and if you get to ever watch him, one thing he's going to make you realize that at the end of the day, we're going into a fight. You can turn the boxing match into a fight, or you can keep it as a
Yeah.
boxing match. But the guy who turns the boxing match into a fight is typically the guy who's always going to win because the chips are against you. I'm sure you also know you're Nigerian. Typically, people don't, the chips are not for us. You're not stacked in our
Yeah.
favor. So we have to take it. When I
Yeah.
was a young kid, I was going to MFM. I grew up in MFM, in Matthew chapter, I think it's 11 verse 1 or 2. I can't remember what it was. I can't recall at this point. Our motto there was that the kingdom of God suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. And I
Yeah.
apply it to boxing all the time. Or I need to apply it some more, I would say. Boxing is a sport where violence is the name of the sport. The winner of the sport is who throws more punches and who can be
Yeah.
more violent. And you have to take what's yours. Man is trying to take food out of your table. So the beautiful thing about Glenn Johnson is that he makes you realize all these things and makes you realize that at the end of the day, you have to put in the work, and he guides you in the way for you to become a champion, just like he was, and for you to derive all the benefits that come with the sports that we apply our trade in.
Now, let's take a look at some of the fights you've had. You faced the likes of Aslandes Makhmudov, you faced Mike Ford, you faced Silgado. These are pretty tough fights. I'm just going to ask which one for you is the toughest, your toughest fight? I want to
I'll
hear
say,
this.
I'll say my Ford was the toughest one for me. Though I won that fight, but that was the toughest one for me because at that
How?
time As at that time, I was still an upcomer and I was trying to bite more than I could chew. And I happened to have succeeded in biting more than I thought I could chew, and I chewed it.
Yeah.
Um, that fight was in front of my home crowd in Miami, Florida, here where I'm residing. And I had a lot of pressure because I had the whole place filled up with my fan base. I got the win, but I was rocked a couple of times. I had a cut. It was just a good fight for me. And I was grateful for the win. Leading into the fight, there was a lot of fanfare into that fight. There was a lot of trash talking. He was a football player, and I was a basketball player. Um, and that was kind of like the talk going into the fight.
Okay.
Um, that was also before the Olympic trials in Nigeria in 2020 too. So there was a lot of pressure for me going into that fight. With my Buddha fight, I was already an established boxer. And there was an expectation for me to win. It just so
Yeah.
happened that I did not come through with a win. And that was a fight where I learned a lot of lessons in the sense of,
Okay.
I got better. I got better after the fight. I learned how not to lose. And I
Yeah.
learned the essentials of boxing and what to do
Yeah.
to be successful after the fight with a loss. So, just to answer your question, Mike Ford was the toughest to date.
Mike Ford. That's really interesting to know. But I'm curious to know, Nigerians will also probably want to know this. Is there any chance of you facing Anthony Joshua sometime in the future?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a fight that Nigerians will welcome. Africa as a whole welcome such a fight.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. I just have a lot of work to do. Anthony Joshua is on the downside right now, being that he's had about two or three, I would say one, two, three, four losses right now, with the last one being the worst one of them. So he's going to
Yeah.
do a good job of building himself back up. And also, I don't think Joshua's a household name. What better opponent would you have for the continent of Africa? Two heavy giants going in the ring
Yeah.
and leaving it all in there for the entertainment of the country. So yes, it's a very, very good possibility. It's something that I have to do a lot of work to get to,
Yeah.
publicity wise, and in the boxing gym and the ring itself. So yes, that's a fight that I would entertain.
All right, so we'll see how that one goes. Personally, I can't wait for that one because I'm sure Nigerians would want to see, Raphael Akpejiori, Anthony Joshua fight. And imagine if that is going down in the city of Lagos. That would be so big right there. But I feel most likely you should get most of the support because Joshua is flying more of the United Kingdom flag than Nigeria. But for you, straight Nigeria. Okay, so let's talk about, outside boxing. And you hold a bachelor's and master's degrees in mechanical engineering. How have your engineering studies influenced your approach to sport? Because I'm thinking engineering, sports, they don't go pari passu, but how has that influenced your approach to sports?
Well, I mean, we're all Nigerians, so let's not deceive ourselves. There are only a few things that we're allowed to do as kids. And whether it's like you will go to school, you get that engineering doctor or lawyer degree. So that really doesn't have much to do with sport. It's just a requirement for being a Nigerian. You have
Okay.
to use your education. I just so
Yeah.
happened to have gotten in my parents the requirement that they wanted and the school they paid for. And after that, I chased boxing, which is what I wanted to do. So I just happened to have fulfilled my requirements in education and show them that, I've done what I needed to do. In the worst case scenario, I can get a job and live a successful life regardless. So yeah, that's really what it is. But just to answer your
But
question,
you're
you're right.
so real with this response. Your response is just so real,
Do you,
undiluted.
do you want me to lie to you, or do you want to hear the truth? You have to pick one. I can give you the political correct answer, but that's just the truth that we all know what it is.
Yeah.
But to be honest, just to be serious, boxing, and the good thing about engineering is that it makes you work hard. You realize that
Yeah.
nothing is easy. Going through 5 years of engineering, or 6 years of engineering with the other degrees that that come with it, the
Yeah.
thermodynamics, the physics, the chemistry, the mathematics, the different the heat transfers, all those things, and also getting a professional engineering license and becoming an engineering trainer, all those extra things that come with being an engineer, aerodynamics, fluid mechanics, heat
Yeah.
transfer, back systems, all these little things that require a lot of work, a lot of knowledge, a lot of know-how, a lot of collaboration, cooperation with other engineers, your professors. That just shows how much, how just teaches you the concept of hard work. And that is
Yeah.
something that translates to every sport, that translates to anything you want to do in any walk of life. Just be
Yeah.
hardworking. Like the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 31, I believe, it says, "He is thou a man that is diligent in his labor, he shall seek before the kings and not mean men." So you just
Yeah.
have to find a way to be diligent in your labor. And whatever it is that you choose to do, God will bless it as long as it's the right thing and it's not hurting or offending people.
That's really good to know. Now let's talk about your short-term and long-term goals in boxing. What are your short-term and long-term goals? You mind to share that with us?
Absolutely. I think I have short-term goals. The short-term goals to be the heavyweight champion of the world. I think I have gathered a lot of clout. I have a lot of leverage right now, rather
Yeah.
different from what I had about 4 years ago. I have a lot of experience now. I have logged in my 10,000 hours in this sport. Yes, I'm relatively new to this sport, but yes, I'm in a great position now to be the heavyweight champion of the world. And the path that I'm going to take right now is going to be much better than what I thought it was going to be when I started. I've suffered a loss. Suffered an embarrassing loss. I used to see myself as untouchable. But when I got stopped in a fight, I realized that I have a lot of work to do. Grateful to God, I have a trainer who has been there before over 65 plus times,
Yeah.
almost 100 times. He has been in the ring. He has fought many wars. He has fought so many war title fights. And I have
Mm.
somebody to guide me through that process. He's Jamaican and he's one of the best. I like to tell people that he's a Hall of Fame. I mean, he actually is a Hall of Fame boxer, well known around the world and well respected in every sense of the world.
Yeah.
I've taken my loss. I've taken a loss. I know what it is to not be on your high horse and actually go back into the basics and do what you need to do and get there. So in the short
Yeah.
term goal with a year or two, I expect myself to win every fight or I beat everybody that comes in front of me and win every
Yeah.
fight. Beating everybody that comes in front of me will lead me to a heavyweight title and to be a heavyweight champion of the world. Also do a lot of work on the streets, get the people in Nigeria to know me, get people to support me, and get people to be
Yeah.
proud of me. I believe that as long as you keep bringing glory to Nigeria, Nigeria will reward you with all the
Yeah.
benefits of success. And Nigeria wants something to be proud of. We Nigeria is a tough country as we know to go into what the reality is, but we know how tough Nigeria of a country is for us who have
Yeah.
family and friends that live
Mm.
there, who actually live there. The short term is to bring smiles to the face of Nigeria, and in the long term to become a household name. Become a household name like the JJ Okocha, the Kano Nwankwo, the
Yeah.
Samuel Peters, the
Yeah.
Duncan Dawari, and to
Yeah.
become that for Nigeria, be an ambassador for the country over the world in sports, in media and entertainment, and anything that I can do for my country that will make our name, put us in a positive light around the world. I'm really open to doing in the long term.
Yeah, and I really wish you all the best with these your goals. They are very achievable, and I'm sure you will achieve them. All the best, Raphael Akpejiori. Now let's talk about your favorite fight in the last 10 years. I'm talking about outside your own. I mean, in the world of boxing, we have seen Andy Ruiz, Joshua. We have seen Wilder Fury. We have seen, Joshua Dubois, Joshua, and what's the name of the other? And Andy Ruiz. Yeah. So which one for you is the favorite? The last 10 years bout we have seen in boxing. Which one is your favorite?
That's a hard question because I have a lot of favorites. To be honest, my favorite fight in the last 10 years, I would say, is Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. And it was a fight that was just fought very recently, Javante Davis versus Frank Martin. And to me, it was more about the attitude of Javante Davis in that fight.
Okay.
Um, Frank Martin's skills were unmatched because he was a great boxer. But it just to me it was more like the man with the bigger wheel won. Gervonta Davis went in there with the biggest balls, knowing that,
Yeah.
okay, you know what, I am going to kill you, and there is nothing you're going to do about it. There's no amount of punching that you can give me that is going to make me
Yeah.
backtrack. And Frank Martin held up for a long time. And in the sixth round, he just couldn't hold any longer. Gassed out then, Ken Tank
Yeah.
Davis got down in. Another good one I would say is the one that was actually held last Saturday, Bertevia versus Bivol. Also, Bertevia versus Dmitry Bivol, the light heavyweight. So he's a light heavyweight? Yeah, it was a light heavyweight undisputed title that was held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. You could see two different skills. I actually expected Bivol to win. I'm actually okay with a draw, and I'm sticking to whatever decision that was given. I thought Berteviev won. Everybody thinks Bivol won, but I mean, I thought he won because I'm biased as to his skill level. I think he was the man that imposed his will the most. He's the man that controlled. That was the general, the ring general in that fight, and he controlled the tempo of the fight. Bivol was good. He beat Canelo. He's very, very knowledgeable. He's really good at what he does. Controls distance very well. But I still believe that that fight belonged to Beterbiev or to Beterbiev. So in my opinion, those are the two best fights in recent memory for me. There might be others, but for now, those are the two that come to mind.
Yeah, those are really unexpected pick, and I was thinking it's going to be part of the popular names we have out there. But of course, I respect your picks right there because you have your reasons
Yeah.
for choosing those bouts. All right, now just a quick one before we actually bring this interview to an end. Right there, what you know are your message to aspiring boxers in Nigeria? Now, I go to different states, different stadiums in Nigeria. And I see young folk trying to box, and I'm sure if you see the guys, then you remember how you started, like you said earlier. And these are guys that really want to become, the Anthony Joshua, they want to become the Tyson Fury, they want to become the Mark Tyson, and also the Raphael Akpejiori too. But what are your advice to them right now? I'm talking about aspiring boxers, not just in Nigeria, but worldwide. I'm sure most of them are watching this. What are your advice for them right now?
I'm not gonna sit here and act like boxing took me out of the brought me to the United States. Basketball brought me here. Football kept me here, and I decided to chase boxing, and here we are today. But just like everything else in life, there are two aspects of things. There's one, doing the
Yeah,
work, and number two, blowing your horn. The boxers need to learn how to not just do the work, but also blow their horn. When I say that, I mean you need if you look at the Floyd Mayweather, everybody loves Floyd Mayweather
yeah,
because he makes the money and he's good and he's flashy, but that's him blowing his horn. The part that you don't see is the work that he does. Every morning he is training. He wakes up at 2 a.m. and he's in the gym or he's lifting weights. That work portion he's never going to negotiate. So you have to do the work. You wake up in the morning, do your work, you do your road work, you run your 4 miles, you could use 500 sit-ups or 200 or 300 push-ups, call it a day, go do what you need to do, go back to the gym, listen to your coach, get your boxing skills right. You have the conditioning to do your 6, your 8, your 10, your 12 rounds. And when you're done, take your spare time and sell yourself. Because you can work all you want, but if nobody knows who you are, you're not gonna be successful. So social media is a great tool. Sell yourself. There's a guy that is in Miami right now, Sense Boy. I'm sure all the boxers know Sense. Sense is great. He's done his work. He's really good. One thing that he's very good at is social media. He doesn't play. His social media is almost like, I won't say Tunde not, but in the boxing world,
mm,
he's popping. But he did his work on
yeah,
social media and he got himself here to Miami and he's training amongst the best. I see him almost every week and he works
yeah.
hard. He works like a dog, but he also understands the power of social media. You need to sell yourself because nobody's going to sell you. You have to sell yourself. So that's the two advice I have for upcoming boxers: do the work and sell yourself. No one else is gonna come and save.
Okay, now let's talk about Nigerian music just before I will bring this on because I feel like you have your favorite Nigerian music of all time, Nigerian musician rather of all time. Who is your favorite?
It changes. It changes. Growing up, I grew up in a time where Lagbaja was popping. With this
Yeah,
I can't remember this Onigele, Skentele, that was to me
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that was one of the that was to me that was one of the best intros to an Afrobeat song I'd ever heard. As I was before I left Nigeria, I was 17. I think that was the time of Shanks, Rugged Man. He was popping then. When
yeah,
I went to America, I left Afrobeats for a while. Then I came in. But Davido, Burna Boy. As 2 years ago,
yeah.
Ashake Man. Now, I've been through
Yeah.
life and I realize that, what, I kind of have to go back to gospel music. So Mercy Chinwo,
Okay. It's good. It's good.
Wednesday, um, you know, these to me, I'm a gospel guy now. It's like, and it's amazing how just as much as um the secular music and Nigerian secular music has improved, the gospel music has insanely improved. It's
Yeah.
next level.
Yeah.
When you see people like Mercy Chinwo, Victoria Range, um, what's his name?
Moses
Theophilus
Bleed.
Bliss. And it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
where have these guys been? Why is nobody talking about them? And that's my thing now. Maybe it'll change again in the future. Who knows? But I'm still listening to the old Ashakers of 2022s and the
Okay.
Banjis when I was a kid, or
Okay.
the Wandy Coles before I left Nigeria.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of them. There's a
Okay.
whole lot of them.
But I'm curious to know what's led to the transition to gospel music. So you don't know, you might be changing your life right now.
The truth is this, man. When life hits you, you remember that no man can save you. Your daddy can't save you. Your mama can't save you. Your
Yeah.
wife can't save you. Friends can't save you. And you ask yourself, somebody can save me. And God finds a way to find you. And when you find him, you realize that, man, I'm all, but yeah, that's, when life touches you, you realize that there is God. But you won't have to be told real quickly. You will figure it out for yourself. When God carries your problem and now carries you with the problem, and you see an impossible situation, and you're in an impossible situation that is virtually impossible by every metric of human standards, and you talk to everybody, there's no solution. You talk to your friends, your family, everybody, there is no solution. And God finds a way to find you. And you now look, but when He pulls you out of that problem, you look back and you realize that, why was I warring? But you weren't stupid then.
Yeah.
I just pulled you out of it. He's the maker of the
Hmm.
heavens and earth.
Yeah.
And in the past, when people are telling me things like that, I'm like, you know what? I grew up in MFM. There's nothing I can tell you about God that I don't know. I read Bible back to back 2 times. I know God. But he finds a way to find you and realize that, bro, I'm all, yeah.
Oh
But
more.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
but
where we
I feel
find
like
you?
when you say "oh more," like a lot of things, you just remember a lot of things. Like, you don't even
Yeah,
know where to start from.
like there's no I'm laughing now, but when you're going through those problems,
Yeah,
you want to brag on the Christian background that you've had. But when you realize those problems, you realize how much you've lost your way. We come to America and we think that, oh, all those prayers we pray in Nigeria is because we're in Nigeria. Those are natural so far. But when America gives you its own version of the same things that you were seeing back in Nigeria, well, you realize that the witches and wizards, they're everywhere. When we're
well,
little,
so they're in America too.
no, you learn that real quick. Don't worry. The powers of the devil is everywhere. When we were young, we used to
Yeah.
hear nonsense. We used to say nonsense like, "Oh, did you know they'll cross water? They can't play, they can't fly plane, or evil does
Yeah.
is only in Nigeria. But when you go through life as an elder statesman, you learn really quickly that the devil lives on the earth.
Yeah, I guess.
Earth is not located in Africa. The earth is all around the
I
earth.
guess.
And
Well,
God in His infinite mercies always finds a way to save us and
yeah.
redeem us.
Mm.
And that's the least I can do to God, give Him praise and be grateful at this point in my life.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's really nice. I must say it's been a very entertaining, educative, and inspiring session today with heavyweight boxer Raphael Akpejiori. Thank you very much for granting this interview.
Thank you. I appreciate you a lot. I really appreciate the opportunity also.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one. And of course, I thank you very much for watching and listening to this edition of Total Sport on